is a widespread problem in this country. Every day, thousands of Americans go to work and go to school with maybe breakfast, and they may never see lunch and may never see dinner. Well, that problem is also very much here in Delaware. And with me tonight I have State Senator Herman Holloway Sr., who's the chairman of the State Senate Social Services Committee. Senator Holloway, I understand you've introduced a resolution that's going to try and deal with this problem. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Peggy, when the governor presented his state message, he mentioned a concern for unfortunate, less fortunate persons within our state. The Democrat leadership, when they issued their position paper, they spoke to the issue of hunger in the state of Delaware as being a high priority item on the agenda of Democrats. As a result of that, I introduced, along with Representative Van Sant, Senate Joint Resolution number 9, providing for a joint legislative study of hunger in the state of Delaware. The legislature favorably considered that legislation. It went to the governor and he signed it into law. The combined committees on health and social services in the Delaware General Assembly will undertake moving out into the communities throughout all of Newcastle County, in-depth inquiry of hunger in the state of Delaware. We have been ably assisted by the religious community, a number of human and social service agencies, and we're about ready to go. Now the hope is, once we've gone out and talked to the people in the communities of Claymont, in the city of Newark and Newcastle, in the city of Wilmington, we will then move down to Kent County and conduct similar type hearings. Once those are finalized, we will go to Sussex County. And in each of the political subdivisions, I'm relying on the people who live and work and deal with this problem, the church persons, the social workers, to help plan the hearings.
Let me just interrupt you for a minute, Senator. Do you have any idea at this point as to how big of a problem hunger is in this state?
What I'm aware of, and I think the work of the committee will finally establish with a legitimate base what the needs are and what the problems are. I know that there are many religious institutions throughout the state of Delaware and many other beautifully motivated people who are volunteering their time, feeding people each day. The depth and the range of the problem, I'm unable to say at this time. We want to hear the people in the various communities speaking with their own tongue in terms of the problems that they're having, in terms of a nutritional diet on a daily basis. The public health officer of the state of Delaware, Dr. Olson, is going to make a presentation at one of the hearings that will document the reports on the part of physicians in the state and our hospitals in the state as it relates to malnutrition. Right now, we do not know. There are many dedicated persons who have plugged in and have been of tremendous help in assisting to put this together in a very meaningful and positive way.
Now, I know Meals on Wheels is very successful at going right to the front door of elderly people's homes and making sure that they have meals. It kind of makes you think, this is such a small state. You wouldn't really think that there would be that much problem with people going hungry every day. First of all, how was it even brought to your attention?
Well, number one, though Delaware is a tiny state, and since I'm a native Delawarean, I love to refer to it as a jewel among the states. We have all of the kinds of problems that much larger states have. Our problems are not as massive, and we've done a good job in Delaware of managing and addressing the problems under the leadership of the DuPont administration, which I've been proud to support when there were positive suggestions put forth. Democrats in the legislature, I think, share with the DuPont administration the good fortune that Delaware finds itself in terms of its financial position at this time. We sowed the seeds along with the governor, and this year we will reap a bounty. And out of that bounty comes a compassion in terms of the governor of this state and the members of the Delaware General Assembly to address with compassion the problems of disadvantaged persons and unfortunate citizens. I can substantiate out of just moving from one place to another throughout the state that there are large pockets of unemployment. There are many households that enjoyed the benefit of both the husband and the wife working, the mother and the father working. Over the last 3 or 4 years, we have seen that diminish to the point where there's only one paycheck in the family. People are struggling, many people are struggling.
And I may add a lot of single mothers.
Absolutely.
Too.
That is a salient and very important aspect of what we want to look at. How single heads of households are faring. Out of these hearings, I would expect that there would be considerable information developed in terms of the cost of housing, basically how people are surviving. I thought it was commendable that the governor of the state did, in fact, when he presented his State of the State address, mention the concern of government for those less fortunate. I thought it was also commendable when the Democrat leadership, when they presented their 8-point program of concerns and priorities, listed hunger in the state as one of their high priority items. And we're not talking about creating another bureaucracy, another layer of paid governmental workers to address this problem. We want to know who is doing what in terms of attempting to feed people. The elderly citizens have programs that at least guarantee them one nutritional meal per day. The governor spoke of other segments within our populations who may be catching the very devil trying to make ends meet.
Right.
So what I hope to do is, once we have finalized and made an assessment and evaluation of our findings, to go to the legislature, the Joint Finance Committee, as we mark up the budget beginning in April, and provide an increase for those people who are now in the feeding business. The Salvation Army, there are some ministers there at 2nd and Jackson Street, where we'll hold the first hearing, go into Claymont and see who's doing what and give them a little bit more money, things of that type.
Okay, Senator, briefly, where and when will the first meeting be held?
The first hearing is going to be held at Emmanuel Dining Room, 2nd and Jackson Street. That community represents the cosmopolitan of the entire state, in that we have poor whites, Spanish-speaking, blacks, a mixture of those in that community. And I think that will be a beautiful springboard for us to begin.
Well, Senator, I want to thank you very much for being on the show.